SAFM meeting point. I did say that we are going to discuss this very important question. Land reform continues to be an important objective in not only dealing with land ownership in the country, but also the need to see increased black participation and ownership in the agricultural sector. Over the years, we have witnessed a number of examples where communities successful in land claims have been unable to toil the land and participate in the agricultural value chain because of lack of resources. This is, however, being addressed with the establishment of the Agri-Industrial Fund established by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development through funding from the IDC. The fund means that land claimants are now able to access funding that allows for them to upscale their operations. Now, Peter Setou is Chief Executive of the Vumelana Advisory Fund, a non-profit organization focused on helping land reform beneficiaries to make that land more profitable through various partnerships. And he joins us now on the line. Setou, thank you very much for making time. Welcome to SAFM.
Thank you very much, Coach Setou, and thanks for having me.
A very important question. And before we speak about the value of the Agri-Industrial Fund and how you yourself as Vumelana, are advancing this important fund, let's go back to what we have experienced, or how a number of land claimants, what the experience have been in their inability to make their farm successful and rightfully, successfully participate in the agricultural value chain.
Thank you, Koketso, for that question. The reality is that what we've seen to date is, in many instances, communities, or rather beneficiaries of land reform, when they do get their land, they do not always have the requisite funding as well as the skill set to actually work the land. And this has, in many instances, resulted in the land becoming unproductive. I mean, if one was to use some of the statistics that have been bandied around, it is estimated that between 70 and 90% of land that has been transferred as we speak is unproductive. And clearly, this is unsustainable. There is a need to make sure that the beneficiaries of land reform are supported in order to make sure that we can create much-needed jobs. We can also make sure that there is income generation as well as skills transfer for the beneficiaries of land reform.
It is concerning, though, because, the land reform program, of course, in our country has been going for a while. And as you mentioned, a number of people who have already received their land through the claims. But it makes one wonder how it came to be that people were given back the land, but there were no resources availed to them at that time.
Yeah. So my view on that one is, there is a need to really balance the manner in which the land is acquired and used. Whilst it is important that we need to make sure that we address the plight of the dispossessed, it doesn't really help to give them the land and not provide them with the requisite resources to make sure that they can work that land. So it is for that reason, as Vumelana, as an organization, we are in this space to try and support beneficiaries of land reform in order to make sure that they can use their land productively. And one way of actually doing that is to partner with the private sector, or private investors. This is the most expedient way through which we can actually bridge this gap. As we know, there's a huge demand on the government fiscus, and the outbreak of COVID-19, amongst others, including a very challenging economic environment, as we know, it has resulted in budgetary cuts and really reallocation of resources to other priority areas, such as for COVID and to deal with people who are in dire straits. So there's just so much that government can do, and it's for that reason that there is a need to partner with the private sector. And efforts by government in launching this Agri-Industrial Fund should really be lauded.
Definitely, and I want to talk about the involvement of the private sector in a bit, because I did also note the assistance that as Vumelana you're getting from the Sanlam Foundation. But before we get there, let's talk about this fund, which, of course, thanks to the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, 8 billion rand that has been made available. And we're talking about 200 million rand a year there in terms of assistance. We're talking agriculture. Are there specifics here in Setou as to which areas in terms of agriculture are able to access this fund? And most importantly, how is this fund accessed?
Maybe I want just need to reflect on the fact that these funds have really come at the right time, since many beneficiaries have been watching without support, i.e. they've got this land, but yet they cannot use it due to lack of post-settlement support, as I've indicated earlier on. Now, some of the targeted subsectors of the agricultural sector is really the high-value export-oriented crops such as citrus, avocado, table grapes, blueberry, and tree nuts. It also supports areas like poultry, but obviously where the contract growers minimum is 200,000 per cycle. So here we are not talking about survivalist, people on the street who are selling chickens. We are really looking at the upper end of the market. And also independent, vertically integrated operations. Livestock, piggeries and cattle, sheep, etc. in a vertically integrated operations, as well as expansionary acquisitions in these sectors, will also qualify for funding.
When it comes to, qualification is one thing, that is it all, but if I'm sitting with my family members in my community, I'm in Matatiele and we've got some livestock and we are struggling and we obviously need assistance, it becomes a challenge to even hear of such funds, let alone be able to apply and ensure that all the relevant documents and all the qualification boxes are ticked. So how does Vumelana assist where that is concerned?
The point that you are raising is quite critical, because if you look at programs that government actually provides, there's quite a number of them where government does or has got programs in place to support beneficiaries. But the reality is, either communities in most instances are not even aware of these facilities that they are available to assist them. Or if they are aware, they don't have the capacity or the technical know-how to apply for this fund. And in this instance, we are proposing that perhaps government at the IDC should really do more in terms of creating awareness of the existence of such facilities as a starting point. Secondly, make it easier for the communities to access these funds, And lastly, link them up with credible and experienced implementing partners. Some of the failures that we've witnessed within the land reform space is, if giving beneficiaries of land reform, funding is just, but it's not the solution in its entirety. You need to make sure that you support them with funding, but on the other hand, you need to make sure that they are able to work the land, that they've got the technical skills and the ability to run these farms productively, and most importantly, access to markets, because you can produce all these things, but if you don't have access to markets, then it's not going to help. So it's for that reason that as Vumelana, we are really promoting the involvement of the private sector to partner with the communities in this regard. With specific respect to this fund, we are proposing that we should link these communities with credible and experienced implementing partners.
We're in conversation with Peter Setou, who's the Chief Executive of the Vumelana Advisory Fund, a non-profit organization focused on helping you as a land reform beneficiary to make your land more profitable. And we are talking, of course, about the 1 billion rand Agri-Industrial Fund established by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development through the funding from IDC. Are you a land claimant? Have you been seeking help? What have been your experiences when it comes to lack of resources or even challenges, if at all, in accessing such funds? Share your thoughts by calling now, and you can engage with Peter Setou 011-714-2006. That's 011-714-2006. Or send us a WhatsApp voice note 0614-104-107. We continue with Peter Setou up next. It is 19 minutes past 8.
I'm Sihlezi Galala, Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. South Africa has made significant